September is one of the biggest months in bourbon. Here's the releases to keep an eye out for. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Bourbon Hutch. Thanks so much for joining me on this journey through the world of whiskey. So September, it hits, fall begins to kick into gear, and that means it is bourbon release season. September is actually Bourbon Heritage Month, so get ready for kind of an onslaught of bourbon information, bourbon events, and most importantly, allocated and special and new bourbon releases. So I figured I would do my due diligence, do a little research for myself, but then also make a video for you guys, kind of flagging some of the more special and hopefully attainable bottles that you can keep an eye out for this September. So let's go through the list. There's kind of a mix of bottles that would definitely be more attainable and hopefully we can add to our collections, and then ones that are really just, they come out, they're very special, they're very limited, and maybe, just maybe, we'll get a chance to grab one or win it in a lottery or something. Either way, it's just good to be aware of what's coming out. Let's dive in. Okay, so the first bottle I have listed here is Booker's 2024, the third release of the year, called Master Distillers. From what I understand, it's 127.8 proof, just over 7 years, 2 months old. It's going to be MSRP of around $90 as it's been for a little while now. Booker's is one of those hit or miss kind of releases. Tends to be that some batches are a lot better than others, although I would say they've been hitting a little bit more than not hitting lately. So a lot of decent batches, if not really good batches, coming out. If you're a big Booker's fan and you're trying to get all 4 of the releases this year, Master Distillers should be coming out sometime in September here. Okay, so the next bottle I have is Elijah Craig Barrel Proof C9 24. This should be an MSRP of around $75. It does really fluctuate as to when this bottle actually hits shelves. I actually saw the Breaking Bourbon calendar has this listed under October. Maybe they're anticipating that it'll be a little later this year. I don't know exactly the story, but it's supposed to come out in September, so we'll see. I'm definitely intrigued by it. I think Larceny Barrel Proof C9 24 should also come out around the same time, but again, that one can be delayed. But I highlighted Elijah Craig because I'm just the most interested to see what the C batch does this year, especially given that last year's C batch, the C9 23, is one of the best bourbons I've ever had. So maybe they surprise us and give us something excellent. So anyway, interested in that one. Next I have bottles that I believe have actually started already hitting shelves here in August, which is when I'm filming it. Bamberger's and Shanks from Michter's. So Bamberger's runs about 120 MSRP, Shanks is 110. These are really interesting. Not a lot of transparency out of Michter's around these bottles in particular, but they're more experimental. The good news is I do have a bottle of Bamberger's from this year, and it's really good. I think by and large, the reviews I've seen on both of these bottles this year have been great. So if they start to appear or pop up a little bit near you, I think this year is a good one to pull the trigger and maybe get one of those Bamberger's or Shanks, if you can. Okay, next bottle I have listed is an interesting one. One that I'm not sure I will hunt too diligently, but is intriguing, and that is Woodenville 8 years old. So I heard that they were trying to perfect and really develop the best whiskey they could. Lots of different experimenting going on at Woodenville, and they landed on this one as their best product. And from the early reviews I saw of it or people talking about it, it's pretty good. It is expensive though, $130 MSRP for an 8-year-old. That's pretty steep. So if I see it for around MSRP, I might be tempted, but if it's above that, I think that might be a little bit too much, but still good to be aware that older whiskey from Woodenville will be hitting shelves soon. Okay, next one I have here is Little Book, the Infinite 2024 edition. So Little Book tends to run you around 150 to 160 bucks. I have the Path Not Taken Rye release from earlier in the year, and it's very, very good. Apparently Chapter 7, which I kind of regret not getting, was also very, very good. So they've had a couple of great releases recently. Hopefully they'll keep up the trend. I don't know much about the Infinite other than I think it's a blend of a bunch of stuff and representing the different generations of the Booker family. So intrigued by that one. As more information comes out, I'll definitely be keeping an eye out for it. Okay, now I do want to pause there just for a second because those are all the ones I consider potentially a little bit more attainable. Depending on your area, some of those might be very, very hard to find. I acknowledge that, but overall, those are like allocated but attainable to some degree. The rest of the list, the 3 I have left, they definitely fit in that extremely special, very hard to find. You have to get super lucky to even sniff getting one of these. While we're paused here, do just want to ask, what's going to go on your list? What are you most looking forward to trying to get this bourbon release season? Please also consider hitting the like button on this video. That's what gets it out to the most people. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the channel for the rest of 2024 and beyond. So now that that's over, let's get into the last 3 bottles, the big kahunas of the list. First, I've got King of Kentucky 2024 edition. It's a $300 bottle, Brown-Forman juice. Supposed to be the best of their stuff. I've never tasted it, but if I could get a bottle, I'd be buying it for MSRP, that's for sure. And I've just heard legendary stuff, so I will be keeping an eye out. Who knows if I'll even see a bottle, but it's one to keep on your radar. Then next I have Old Forester Birthday Bourbon. $200 bottle. It's going to be 107 proof this year, at 12 years old at least. And I'm excited to see if this is one I can at least see in a couple spots this year. Maybe you have the opportunity to buy it. Maybe you enter a lottery and that's one of the options. But Birthday Bourbon, I've heard it goes up and down, kind of mixed reviews on certain batches, but when it hits, it's awesome. So again, Brown-Forman Old Forester juice at its best can be amazing. Okay, last but not least on my list, Four Roses limited edition small batch bourbon. It's a $220 bottle of bourbon. It is a blend though of 12 to 20 year Four Roses. I think they usually choose around 4 or 5 of their recipes, blend them together. I think this one has a significant amount of like 16-year bourbon in it, and that's just exciting. I know that this tends to be in people's whiskey of the year brackets and does really, really well. I would be ecstatic to get my hands on one. Again, it might be more of a lottery, lucky situation, but it's one that comes out in September and one to have on your radar just in case you are one of those lucky people who walks into a store, walks into Costco, walks into Kroger, walks into your local liquor store, and it happens to be there and you're wondering, is this worth it? Is this special? Should I be grabbing it? For Four Roses limited edition small batch, I'd say for a reasonable price, yeah, that's probably one most of us want to add to our collection. Okay, so there's more coming out in September than I've listed here, but these are the ones I'm keeping on my radar and wanted to highlight today just so that you have information as the craziness and hecticness and kind of all-out sprint begins for the bourbon world here in September. Again, let me know in the comments, what are you particularly looking out for? And did I miss anything on my list that you would love to grab? Till I see you guys again for another video, all I can say is keep drinking good whiskey, hope your hunting goes well, and cheers.